It's time now for the Casey Ingram Show on WSTU. The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. And now, here's Casey Ingram.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. We are doing the pre-recording for the show that will air tomorrow morning on WSTU AM 1450 at 10 a.m. But today, live right now on the Casey Ingram Show, I'm proud to announce I have Dave Hafner. David is the new 4-H Youth Extension Agent here in Martin County. So all kinds of good things. And I think you took that position back in January.
Yes, started back in January.
So folks, I'm going to be watching my Facebook Live. You can ask any questions or have comments right there. I'll be watching the show on my tablet so I can share those comments with David if you have any. In the meantime, I just want to thank my sponsors, Indiantown Marina. Folks, it is hurricane season. We just had one brush past us on the Gulf Coast and, well, did more than brush. It came through Florida. But now is the time to make sure you have safe harborage for your boats. I cannot recommend a safer place than Indiantown Marina. It's located inland on the Okeechobee Waterway, and the good folks out there have a great place to store your boat in case a hurricane does come our way and hit the East Coast here. And you want to give them a call. Make sure you have a spot, because once a storm is named, it's going to be too late. So I urge you, make your reservation so you have peace of mind and know you have a place to store your boat. Again, that's Indiantown Marina. They're located in Indiantown on the Okeechobee Waterway. Secondly, Martin County Fair, Treasure Coast Agriplex. Folks, there are so many great things that are happening, and I'm going to be ready to share some things and an update with the Board of County Commissioners here at the end of the month in September. So I'm working on a lot of things behind the scenes. I haven't put a lot out there because there's a lot of moving parts going on right now with the Martin County Fair and the move, but we are so excited. As a matter of fact, Channel 5, WPTV, John Shaman just covered the story yesterday. You can catch it on our Facebook page if you did not see it, but we're excited here. The Martin County Fair Board's excited. I'm excited. All of us are working forward and seeing some progress that, folks, for those that say it's too far, it's only 15 miles. And our lease is ending here in 2026. That's the important thing to remember. We have to move. We have to move. We can't stay on our little 11-acre parcel anymore. We really need to find a different location. And I think all of you can look around in Stewart. There just isn't anything else that's available. So it's going to be exciting times, right, David?
Oh, no. The big plans ahead for sure. Yeah.
So how does the 4-H feel about all this move?
I think it's going to be it's exciting. You know, we have since I've come on, I've been doing my best to expand our program, and with an expanded program, we need more room, and so a bigger fairgrounds is definitely important for that.
We do. It's really constrained here. As a matter of fact, sometimes you have to put limits on projects. If there's not enough room, there's only so much room for cattle, for sheep, for the goats and swine. And then there are no horses.
Right, yeah.
So, and we have a huge equestrian community here in the area, right?
Oh, yeah, it's huge. I mean, I don't think people even realize how big it is. We have international Olympians who train and live here in Martin County. You know, we have a huge equestrian community here for sure.
So this is exciting news, and there's going to be a lot happening here in the next months, but we're here to talk about the 4-H program. You took the extension. What's the official title?
So the official title is pretty long. So I am the University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural, I'm already going to mess it up. Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences, Martin County Extension 4-H Youth Development Program Agent. Or you just call me the 4-H agent.
Holy moly, that's a lot. So that's a 4-H youth agent. And so I have to say here too, we already have Amy Pritchard. She is our school board, one of our school board members. She's tuning in. She's very excited to have barrel racing added to the repertoire of 4-H available projects.
Yeah, 4-H is or barrel racing. We just brought in a new club. It's a barrel racing club. So we previously had an equestrian club that focused more on English style riding, and this is a brand new club. Hasn't even had their first meeting yet, other than me meeting with them in the barn to kind of do an organizational meeting. And so yeah, it's going to be really awesome to have them. Not only are they a new club that's bringing the Western style of riding into 4-H in Martin County, but the club leader, Danielle, she reached out to Twin Rivers And we now have a 4-H class at the Twin Rivers Horse Show that's held in Indiantown. So that was super exciting.
I'm excited. I am so excited about that. If you look at
Yes.
my office, you'll see a picture of me barrel racing there. So
Yes,
I
yeah,
used
I
to
did
do
that a
that
little
back
bit
in the day.
myself.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, as a kid, I did the same. Me and you had similar backgrounds as far as barrel racing and standard
did.
breds. My horse was a standard bred.
Yes,
So-
yes. We have a lot of the background here, and it's so exciting to bring, I like the barrel racing, but there's going to be Western pleasure, dressage. There's so many
There's
opportunities.
so many, yeah. And as far as Amy as well, Amy is part of my advisory board, so I'm really excited to have Amy on to
Amy.
have that perspective from the school board. So
Amy, that's
Yeah.
exciting. I'm glad to hear you're part of it. You are somebody that's really involved in the community. So, Dave, tell me, you took over in January. What are some of the things? I know every time I look on Facebook, there's something new that I haven't seen before, that you're really reaching out to the community and to youth. So tell me what your objectives are and what you've been doing this year.
All right, so yeah, so actually I had this conversation with my kids yesterday. So we just had a 3-day weekend, and they were coming to grips with having to go to school today. And they asked me, Dad, are you going to work tomorrow? And I told them no. They said, what do you mean you're not going to work tomorrow? I said, I don't go to work any day because I love what I do. It's not work. And it's true. I was a Martin County 4-H kid. I was a club leader and a volunteer for the last 7 years before I became an agent. So even though I'm the new agent, I'm not new to the program. And so through that experience of having been in the program and then having been a volunteer for the program, I had things in my mind that I always wanted better for 4-H. That's part of our motto, is to make the best better. So there's nothing wrong with wanting more when it comes to this program. So when I was in 4-H and when I was leading my 4-H club and looking around, I saw a lot of focus on raising livestock for the Martin County Fair. And I love that. And that was a lot of fun. My kids do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And it's a very important part of 4-H.
I think I saw your son's steer out there last year, if I recall.
His dairy heifer.
Yes, it's a heifer, yes.
You definitely did. You did an awesome job coming around, meeting the kids.
Oh, it was fun.
They really enjoyed that.
Who knew what the future would hold?
Right. And but I also wanted to make sure our kids were focused on, okay, so the fair is in February. We start in September. The fair is in February. Well, now what? We have the rest of the year. We don't need to stop there. There is so much more that 4-H has to offer that we can continue on all the way until August when the season ends. So I really wanted to come in and expand our options into more than just in the county. I wanted to show our kids that there's stuff happening at the state level all summer long that they can get involved in. And there's other projects they can do. They can do multiple projects here. They can raise a 4-H swine project and show it at the fair. And then once that's completed, they can do an art project. They could do public speaking. There's civics. There's science. There's so much in 4-H.
Speaking of that, we have to do a shout out to Vera Howe, because this was a monumental moment for Martin County 4-Hers.
Yes.
If you can tell us about that.
Yeah, Vera is just one of those standout kids. We have many of them here in Martin County, but Vera, she has set a goal for herself that she really wants to stand out. She really wants to be a leader, and she wants, when she goes to statewide events, she wants people to, when they say, where are you from? And she says Martin County, she doesn't want them to say, where is that? She wants them to say, oh, Martin County. Like, she wants people to want to be Martin County. And so she set her goal this year that she was going to become a state officer. And so there's a statewide event that's held in August at the University of Florida. It's called 4-H University. And Vera, at that event is when we elect our state 4-H officers. And Vera, she had set out to become our state reporter. Unfortunately, she was not elected for that. That's one of the ones that is elected by we have delegates. Each county has delegates that we send up to vote for these things. So it's youth in government, basically. Unfortunately, she did not become the reporter. There are 3 appointed positions, which is actually harder to become appointed because everybody who didn't win an election is now in the pot to be appointed.
Okay.
So out of those 3, she was appointed to be our state historian.
Wow.
Which is really exciting. I happened to be in the room with her at a fun shop, which was a fun activity. When she got the news, she's like, I need to see you outside. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And she's just jumping, so happy. She became, and not only is she now our Florida 4-H state historian, she is the first state officer from Martin County in 40 years.
Huge.
As far as I can tell, we've only had 2 ever, and she's the first one in 40 years.
Congratulations, Vera. We're all very proud of you.
Yes.
That's exciting news, and we're excited here at the Martin County Fair as well.
Yes.
Big deal. It really is. Dave, tell us, we're going to go into some of the projects a little bit, but tell us what it is to be a 4-H member. What are their responsibilities? Because I don't think people realize how encompassing a 4-H project is. It's not just going out and feeding a steer, for example. Mm-hmm. There's record keeping. There's goes into public speaking. I'll let you share a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly right. As far as becoming a 4-H member, basically we have opportunities for kids ages 5 to 18 years old. 5 to 7 years old, that's clover bud. So it's kind of like in the Scouts, it's like the Daisies, right, or the Cub Scouts. In 4-H we call them clover buds. And so it's basically an opportunity to get started in learning. They do a project as well, just like the other 4-H kids. It's just more basic, more just getting them used to being in 4-H. As of 8 years old, they become a 4-H member up through when they finish high school. And at that point, they choose a larger project. It's more involved. With the market animal projects, for example, like you'll see here at the fair, there is a whole record book they have to keep from start of that project to the end of that project. It lists all of their expenses, all of their how much they made from that project, everything they've done with their project. They have to keep photo records. They have to. It's basically a demonstration in running an agribusiness. Instead of running a full farm, you're raising one animal, but it gets you an idea of what it takes to run an agribusiness.
So folks, for an extracurricular activity, really this is so all-encompassing and so important to everyday life for all of us. And so to have children have access to this is really a wonderful program that's been around for decades and decades and decades. And what if you don't have room to raise swine, sheep, or steer at your home?
Yeah, so that's another thing I really wanted to focus on. Like I said, when I came in, there was a big focus on the livestock projects, but there wasn't a lot of love to the other options. So I have a lot of kids right now who are coming to 4-H who don't have space for livestock. They are living in urban communities, and that's really an underserved community in Martin County for 4-H. So I'm reaching out to them with opportunities such as photography and art and coding. We might actually have a coding club that's going to start hopefully soon. So there's a lot of other options. Basically, if your child has an interest in it, we can make it a 4-H club.
Coding, as in like medical coding?
As in computer coding, sorry.
As in computer coding, yes. Okay, all right. That's excellent, though. It's something you don't think about with 4-H. Everybody just thinks agriculture. It isn't. It's really everything. And you just talked about coding, art, photography. So you had posted a link over the weekend on how to join 4-H clubs, and I went to that link, and it's for the state of Florida basically, and then you pick your county, and then you can go in and pick 4-H clubs. Mm-hmm. And I have a daughter who is definitely interested in photography, but I didn't see photography on there. So I'm asking you, what happens now? I looked at all the 4-H clubs, I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Sure, yeah, that's one thing I've noticed. So this is my first time going through the enrollment process, because the enrollments once a year. Basically, it officially starts September 1st. Although this year they opened it August 1st. And so when you go in, you see a list of clubs, but that's all the information you get. You don't know anything more than that. So then you have to contact me to say, I'm interested in a club. Which one should I join? And now I have to be the broker, basically. I have to say, okay, what is your kid interested? What are they interested in? And then I have to think about what clubs I have and what areas they focus on, and which ones have room, which one's close to you.
Right.
And then I have to also think, okay, we don't offer what you're looking for. How can I create that? Because I don't ever want to tell a kid no. I want to tell a kid, here's what we're going to do. So we don't have a photography club right now. That is something I'm actively working on. But if they were to join any other club and they want to do photography projects, they can do a 4-H photography project in any club. Like, for instance, if they join the archery club and they want to do a photography project, they can do that under 4-H, because now they are in a 4-H club. It doesn't matter what the focus of the club is. They can do any other 4-H project as long as they're now a 4-H member.
So for the children, they don't have to necessarily, we'll use archery, continue to use that as the example. They don't have to pick up archery, but there's probably monthly meetings that they would attend or something in the 4-H club now through the fair.
Sure. Yeah, so each club is a little bit different because each club is run by a volunteer. It's all, except for me, it's all volunteer based. So the club has a volunteer leader, actually 2 leaders at minimum. Hopefully then we'll have more parents that are also volunteering as well. And they will set a schedule of meetings, whether they'll meet once a month, twice a month. As it gets closer to fairs, some will meet more often to make sure they're really honed in, ready for their project completion. And then there'll be different locations they'll meet, depends on the club. Some meet right here at the extension office or on the fairgrounds. Others are meeting in other civic places.
So speaking of parent volunteers, that is always something all of us can use. And tell us, how are you reaching the parents? Of course, it would be parents of 4-H members, but what if we've got a wonderful, diverse community here in Martin County, a lot of retahirees that have come here that have so many skills to offer our students and our children. How can we reach out to those?
So that is something so that's one of my 2 needs is volunteers. As I'm moving forward and I'm seeing the wants from the community as these new members are coming to 4-H, I need volunteers, and that's what I'm trying to figure out is how to connect with those people. So I am talking with leaders in the community, asking them, can you help connect me? Because that when I interviewed for this position, that was one of my main goals, was to bring in new volunteers to offer new opportunities. So I'm actively sharing on social media every once in a while, so I'm not flooding it too much. If you have a passion, come to 4-H. We'll help you hand that passion down to the next generation, so it's not lost. A lot of these things, these things that we used to do, sewing, that's part of 4-H. There's a lot of old. I don't want to say old, but older.
I sewed, I knitted, so yes, it's old.
Old things that we used to do that are
Right.
being lost to the generations that
It's a
we need
shame.
to save them. We can save them in 4-H.
And that is really the neat part about 4-H. And I've seen you do events even in downtown Stewart. Maybe you might have a booth or something set up at different events to reach out to people.
The Stewart, the downtown farmers market. I'm there once a month. A new market just started over at on Citrus, the at Newfield.
Yes,
I'm going to be part of that also once a month. So I'm helping spread the news to the community that we're here. I get a lot of people who don't even know 4-H is here. I hear that a lot. We have 4-H here.
That's right.
I participated in the Martin County, the Martin County Memorial Day Parade.
Yes.
And I could hear the people as we marched down the street. Hey, there's 4-H. They had no idea we were here.
Folks, if I think you can probably feel it through the camera as I am today, the excitement that David Hafner has for 4-H, and what a find he is for this position, because I don't think there's anybody else that could lead this organization the way you are right now. I've been in Martin County for over 15 years, and because I was in 4-H, I reached out and would try to get involved and promote the kids, but I've never seen anybody take the bull by the horns like you are and trying to get it out to the community and reach more. So congratulations to you on that.
Thank you.
I'm excited. It shows how passionate you are about it. Amy says, love your attitude, David. Love what you do and do what you love. And that's true. And that's the point of, I don't go to work because I'm basically working every day because I love what I do. Casey Cass, thank you for tuning in. He said, I'd love to help with any photography project, possibly supplying cameras.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
So, Casey, yes, David Hafner appreciates that, and that's something that he can reach out to you about that, and that would really help a photography club and for kids that can't afford a camera, because those are...
Oh, yeah, that would be huge. Like, I was at the library this weekend, like, okay, how many can I borrow at a time? Because the library offers them, but I'm sure they won't give me very many.
Right. And then you got to worry about if something happens.
Yeah.
So, Amy, she mentions beekeeping.
Yes. Oh, so I would love that. We have our individual clubs, and then youth leaders from those clubs, they can now join a second, or not just now, but they can join a secondary club. This has been something that's been happening. It's called the County Council. So on our County Council, we have one of our members is Ella. Ella and her mother set up a shop at the Hope Sound Farmers Market every weekend selling their products. But this is a 4-H project that they're selling this honey. And Ella, she did a demonstrative talk on beekeeping at the state level and took first in the state.
Oh, congratulations, Ella. That's awesome.
She also goes to school at Visionary School of the Arts. She's an accomplished artist. Like she's another one of those standout kids. And so we do have some limited beekeeping, but yes, we do have beekeeping. I'd love to get more into it. And I think, did I just hear Amy volunteer to be the
I
club
was
leader?
going to say, Amy, I think you have some real connections to beekeeping. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So absolutely, I know you have so much time on your hands, right? Wink, wink again. I know that's a joke. Casey, Casco Tools requires its staff to be involved with community events. We would be happy to volunteer. Heather ran 4-H groups for many years. Heather
Awesome.
is Casey's partner out there at Casco Tools.
Okay.
That would be fantastic. So
Yes.
you're getting some volunteers
That's
here today.
awesome.
Thank you for that,
Thank
Casey.
you.
It's much appreciated. Bridget Howe, David is doing a great job, and that's one of your main 4-H families here
Yeah.
in the area.
Yes,
Vera's mom.
Yes, and Bridget not only is a mother, and she's very involved. She's also a club leader on her own. She has just started a new club. It's an insect club, which is really awesome.
Entomology,
Yes,
right?
entomology. And then also she is on my advisory board. She is the vice chair on the advisory. So she's been involved for a very long time.
So, folks, there's so many things for kids to do. I mean, school offers sports, and there's some clubs in that, but 4-H is just so much more than that. It's such a well-rounded experience. And I want to talk a little bit more that the relationships these kids establish in 4-H, because we have the county level of 4-H. Then they can go to state and they meet kids from all over the state. And then, do they still have national 4-H levels
So,
where you can go further beyond that?
There's no officer level at that point. There are national get-togethers. There's 4-H National 4-H Congress. There's also 4-H trips to Washington D.C. So there are opportunities past the state level. But yeah, I appreciate you brought up the relationships, because that's my favorite part about 4-H, that peer-to-peer interaction. I loved, when you go to a 4-H club, you'll notice that these kids, they get along so well and they care for each other. The older kids will take after and look after the younger kids, and the younger kids are helping the older kids. So they're learning from each other. The older ones are getting that leadership experience from the younger ones. The younger ones are feeling accepted and getting that confidence from the older ones. And it's such an awesome experience. And then this summer, I attended every single statewide 4-H event there was, because I wanted to experience them firsthand so I could promote them to our kids.
Right.
And it was a busy summer, but it was a lot of fun. And I got to see these kids at the same thing that they were doing here. They were doing at those higher levels. Just they don't see each other all year. They come to the statewide event, and all of a sudden they're best friends. And it was so awesome to witness these kids.
It's relationships that they establish for a lifetime, and that's what's so unique about this. So you have your friends at school, but then you have another whole realm of friends. And my experience with the 4-Hers and FFA, the kids are just incredibly polite. They're hard workers. They have a work ethic like you just don't see anywhere else.
Yeah, no, for sure they do. Yeah, and another level of it is myself being in 4-H. I tell these kids now they're making connections for a lifetime. There are kids, they're not kids anymore because we were in 4-H a little while ago, but I talk to my fellow 4-H members from when I was a kid weekly. I still talk to them. So these really are relationships for a lifetime.
They truly are. And you spoke about going to Washington, D.C. It made me remember a little story. I saw Ronald Reagan on my 4-H trip to Washington, D.C., and I got a picture of him waving out the limo window, and you can't tell who's in there or anything, but I remember it. It was kind of cool. Christy Nicole, loving all the new workshops that are offered. James Carroll, I worked with David during my time at the Business Development Board. He's doing great and necessary work in the community.
Thank you.
The community are really behind you, David, and we can feel your excitement. That's what's in your passion for 4-H, to grow this organization. And it's tough right now because it's the agricultural community is a dwindling community in the United States, the rural community. Everybody's going more urban, so it's tougher to reach these people. But 4-H is also changing, where it's reaching out to the kids so that you can do photography, you can do artwork. Hopefully we can do sewing and knitting. I mean, it's just kind of a fun little pastime at the very least. If you want a hobby to do, and the neat things that you can create. So there's a lot of things, even if you don't have a farm, that you can still get involved with 4-H.
Yes. Yep.
And I imagine there's probably farmers out there that might help rent or lease land if you wanted. I don't know if there's any network out there like that if somebody lives in town and wants to try.
Yeah, that's something I'm working on too. That's definitely a need, is some land. So I have definitely one spot has offered, and I'm hopefully find some more places where people can keep animals.
So folks, that's another thing. If you have property out there where maybe you can help some 4-Hers that want to experience raising a farm animal, but they don't have the land because they live in town, that's another great volunteer opportunity. And 4-H is a 501c3, so it is a write-off.
Yes.
So we all pay taxes. It's nice to have those write-offs. So definitely contact Dave Hafner if you think you can help as a volunteer 4-H leader, volunteer supplies. Casey, like you mentioned, cameras, that's such a huge, huge donation and
Yes,
wonderful.
Definitely.
And of course, maybe you have some land or an extra stall at your facility where you can help a 4-Her.
Yeah, it could be something small.
It absolutely could. So, David, where can people go? We've got just a couple minutes left as we're winding down this half hour, and I'm going to have you back. David's right around the corner for me. I mean, our offices almost touch. So, so I can always bring you in here on the show, and we can talk about what's coming up. But how can people reach you?
So you can definitely contact me directly. My email is dhafner, DHAFNER, @ufl.edu. If you just Google Martin County 4-H, you'll find me. Just make sure it's not North Carolina or Kentucky.
There are other Martin counties,
yes,
you're right.
I've had Kentucky call me and ask me about this event. I don't know what you're talking about. But those are and then my phone number is 772-419-6965.
So that's how you get a hold of David. And of course, he's right here on Dixie Highway. He's right here at the Martin County Fair. His offices you can't miss them. They're right with the fair offices. So very easy to reach him. A lot of exciting things. David Hafner, congratulations on your new position. And I'm glad to be talking with you 9 months into it, or almost a full 9 months, because we've seen how much you've done already. I just see somebody that's just really dug right in, and you went right to work. Everybody notices.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it. I'm just getting started.
You are. So 4-H is growing. It's going to grow here in 4-H. We're going to have more room for them at the new Martin County Fairgrounds out just to the east of Indiantown. So that's going to be important as well. So a lot of exciting things are happening.
Yes.
So David Hafner, I appreciate you being on the show today. And as always, it's always a pleasure. And there's going to be things we're going to talk about, like backyard chickens. I know that's something that's the community's talking about again.
Sure.
So that's something that agriculture and we all have eggs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So
sounds good. Yeah. I'd love
very
talking
good.
about it.
Thank you so much. Next, folks, on Facebook Live, I'm going to have Corey Crowley. He is down with Salerno Development Authority, and I will be right back, so stay tuned and come back in a few.